Yo, what's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to What If Naruto Had Yunos powers, aka if Naruto had Yunos grimoire. Now, I wasn't at all expecting that I'd be making this series anytime soon, but I had no video to make today, so I figured, I have this thumbnail, it looks awesome, and I bet that a lot of Black Clover fans that I do definitely have would probably absolutely love to see this series. So I'm bringing you guys this one, but if I don't see that this video gets a ton of support, then I'll probably just drop the series. But if y'all hook it up, I got y'all with more. Trust in me. However, ladies and gentlemen, that being said, I do hope you guys go on to enjoy this part. And if you do, leave a little like on this video, considering that it helps it do a ton better in the algorithm. That being said, enjoy.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
We start our story off in the perspective of Naruto as a little kid. And what would pretty much be going down is, just imagine a little kid walking down the street and suddenly a bunch of adults just start being like, hey, that's the fox, right? And that's what we're gonna basically start the whole thing off, right? It all starts like that, and then all of a sudden, Naruto notices this, right? He's like, okay, they're talking about me. It's my birthday. They're probably gonna beat me. And yeah, that's exactly what's about to happen. A 9-year-old Naruto would literally be getting chased down by bloodlusted villagers who were actually out for killing him this time. One of them ends up finally throwing a rock at Naruto, which causes him to stumble face flat and barely be able to get away from the grasp of the villagers. At this point, Naruto has two corners that he can turn, and he takes the right one. Eventually, he sees that there's nothing but a gate in front of him, and Naruto, not really knowing that that's the forest of death, would just immediately jump over that fence and begin running as fast as he can into the forest. All the villagers would immediately stop and would say, hey, you crazy? Don't go over there. It's the forest of death. He'll probably die in there by himself anyways. We don't have to get our hands dirty. And then the villagers would talk amongst themselves saying, I can't do that. You know, it's because of him that my mom died, my grandma died, my brother died, my sister, you know what I mean? Like, they just start talking about why they hate Naruto so much, and they kind of just are bonding because of the hatred that they hold for this kid who has no idea what's going on, right? But Naruto, through being inside of this forest, would run as deep as he can, not really caring to turn back and be like, oh, are they still following me? Are they still following me? Eventually, Naruto runs into a little branch, trips over it, tumbles down this entire little cliff slash mountain, not too steep, so he's able to like survive, and he hits his head. He passes out and he wakes up about 7 hours later. It's dark. Naruto is just asleep, and honestly, he has no real reason to stay up at all at this moment. Naruto is not having a great time whatsoever, and it's very apparent due to how Naruto looks. He has dirt all over his face, and the moonlight would be the only thing that lets him see what he actually looks like, because the light reflecting off of the moon would hit the water, and Naruto, being able to see this, would pretty much just look at his own reflection. Through this, Naruto begins to realize that he has no idea what way's home, since he was knocked out, passed out, and forgot what direction he ran from. So what Naruto would do is pretty much just wander in some random direction. After about 30 minutes of walking, Naruto sees that there's a hut, and seeing the hut, Naruto would be like, okay, it's there. I'll just go inside for the night, sleep, hopefully nobody's in there. So Naruto slowly walks over, creeps up on the door, opens it up, and then nothing. Naruto would see one thing though, some old crusty dusty book, and he goes over towards it, picking it up as it glows like a vibrant golden aura, and then 4 little clovers would appear on it, as Naruto would be like, what's going on? And when he sees these clovers, this book would float. Naruto would notice that the pages would begin flipping, and it would almost be as if this book would get restored to mint condition. Naruto, looking at the direction of this grimoire, or just dusty book as he would think, would be wondering what in the world is going on. And it would be at this moment that Naruto realizes that there's a bunch of spells why is there spells in this? Naruto would think to himself, but ultimately he decides that it doesn't matter. It's just a weird book and it's interesting. The book would just be glowing the entire time. And so Naruto just lets it keep glowing. It follows him around. Naruto decides that he's going to try to make his way back to Konoha, or Konoha for those that just got like triggered by me saying it that way. But no, yeah, he makes his way back to Konoha, and eventually that light would really help him out a ton because he would just walk in the direction of the book. Eventually he realizes, hey, I'm literally here. And so he just pretty much makes his way towards his house, walks inside, locks the door, and misses the entire day of school the next day, considering that he was tired and injured. So the very next day he ends up going to class, and it would be at this point that Iruka would scold him for being late, and then following this he would end up telling everybody to just have a little bit of a sparring session. Naruto would be pitted up against Kiba, and Kiba would be smirking, thinking to himself, I got Naruto, this is gonna be easy. But what he doesn't know is that Naruto has something brand new under his sleeve, and he definitely intends to use it. Kiba, through being cocky and thinking that he can beat anybody and that nobody's gonna beat him, would be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna beat Naruto, you know, and this ain't nothing but a thing. This ain't nothing but a thing, chicken wing. Yeah, nothing but a thing, chicken wing, right? I'm sorry. This is nothing, and ultimately they end up making the unison sign before Iruka would say, Hajime. Eventually, after this happens, Naruto, looking towards the direction of Kiba, would smirk as, you know, he just says one of the words inside of the grimoire, and Kiba would be like, what's that floating book? Naruto says, don't worry about it. And holding one hand forward, Naruto blows a gust of wind at Kiba so hard it sends him flying into another building, and Kiba just passes out. Iruka would be like, Naruto, what jutsu was that? And Naruto would say that he's not sure, but pretty strong, isn't it? And, you know, Iruka just kind of looks at him and gives him this look of no, like, I don't like you. Before he then just says, Naruto's the winner. And from here, Naruto makes his way home, just being looked at by the class in a weird way. And they'd be like muttering amongst themselves how a kid like him learned how to use jutsus before even Sasuke. And ultimately, what would pretty much end up going down is that Naruto continues kind of like training in a sense, or learning magic, improving his mana, working on his physical body during the next couple of years that he has, until eventually we would get to the day of the final graduation test. After Naruto would have learned that, you know, he probably should study, he probably should work on his body, and he should definitely train with his grimoire and on his mana reserves, he decides that he's going to become a different person. So through the course of that time, Naruto's personality changes completely. It does an entire 180, and Naruto stops wanting the attention from everybody, trying to just be to himself and train and work hard and stay in his own circle. Not really showing off for others, but doing it for himself, getting stronger for himself, getting stronger to become the Hokage. Because if Yuno's dream was being the king of wizards, or the king of wizards, then Naruto is going to be the king of, you know, shinobis, or, you know, the Hokage. And so he continues training day after day after day, and eventually Naruto decides that probably just training on his mana is not going to get him too far. He might as well maybe train on his chakra. So he works on the basic fundamentals of chakra, and ultimately would barely be able to learn things like the shadow clone jutsu and jutsus like wind bullet, seeing as his you know, affinity is really insane. Also learning of things like shuriken jutsus, and, you know, just channeling his chakra through his body, right, to make himself slightly stronger, you know. And through using all of these things, Naruto would be a very apparent powerhouse. Naruto would find himself in a situation a couple of days later, which would be a strange one to say the least. The situation would be that there is no situation. I baited y'all. And why did I do that, you guys might be asking? Because I lost my train of thought. Now, but for real, what pretty much ends up happening is that eventually Naruto makes his way to class, they take the final exams, and eventually Mizuki, being the snake that he is, would be like, Naruto, I have a secret, you know what I mean? Like, I know of a way you can get powerful. Naruto's like, oh really, how? You know what I mean? Like, how can I get, you know, what's it called, Rookie of the Year? Mizuki's like, steal the scroll of sealing. And Naruto's like, you know what, like, even though this dude is clearly lying to me, maybe if I just pretend that he fooled me, I can get my hands on that scroll and learn a couple jutsus from it. And so Naruto, with a smirk on his face, would go over, steal the scroll, and make his way towards the direction of the area where Mizuki wanted to meet. Naruto, after learning the multi-shadow clone jutsu, ends up faking giving the scroll to Mizuki, and once Mizuki takes it and would be like, "You fool!" Naruto immediately whips out his grimoire and shoots a gust of wind so powerful at Mizuki that it would just completely knock him out, sending him flying through 2 trees as he pretty much drags Mizuki's body over towards Hiruzen and would be asking for a commission for completing a mission of stopping a rogue ninja. And Hiruzen would be like, "Naruto, like, there was no mission for this." And Naruto then says, "But there would have been if you would have found out about him stealing the scroll." And Hiruzen's like, "Okay, Naruto, I guess I'll compensate you for a C rank mission." So Naruto catches a little bit of moolah and then eventually would make his way home after doing so. The next day in class, he would end up being told what squad he's going to be in. And when Naruto finds out that his sensei is going to be Kakashi Hatake, Naruto would think nothing of it. Eventually though, he walks inside of the classroom, a bit effing late, and everybody would be kind of upset at Kakashi, considering that nobody wants their teacher to be late for class. Like, could you imagine that on the first day of school, your teacher just walks in late? Bro's literally 2 hours late and he's like, "My bad, y'all, my car broke down." Like, I'm pretty sure y'all would also feel some type of way. Or maybe we wouldn't, considering that we just talk amongst each other and be like, "Oh, you guys have this class too? You guys have this class too?" You know the works. But anyways though, considering that would happen, Kakashi then goes on to tell them to meet him upstairs, and then they do so, going on to have a scene exactly like it would be in the original. However, following this, we don't get that creepy scene in which Naruto tries to kiss Sakura and he drinks too much bad milk. Instead, Naruto goes home, trains, sleeps, and would repeat pretty much every single day. The very next day that would come by, he would finally begin his first day of his ninja career, and it would be on this particular day that Naruto was told about the bell test by Kakashi. After explaining the rules of the bell test and what they're exactly going to be doing, Kakashi then sets a timer and tells them that they have until noon, telling them that whenever it looks like noon, that's when time's up. And so they all each get ready to, do what they're going to do, and they all immediately hide. Surprisingly, this version of Naruto doesn't think to just immediately go and attack head on, considering that he's not going to be just like relying on himself for everything. You know what I mean? He's going to have like a little bit of a different role. And because of this, Naruto is going to, kind of ask Sasuke what he thinks they should do. By the way, I do have one question for you guys. Should I add that one like little fairy thing that Yuno has by his side at all times for this what if, or not? It's up to you guys down below in the comments, so just let me know. And also, let me know what you guys think about my ship idea. I'm thinking that we should definitely ship Temari with Naruto, considering that they're both like wind users mainly. So I'm like, that's like a perfect idea, you know what I mean? Like, we got Temari, and then we got Naruto. I thought it was pretty cool, so let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, and then I'll definitely be sure to take your suggestions down below. That said, let's continue. Okay, so eventually after all of that would happen, Naruto talks to Sasuke, and they would both pretty much end up agreeing on a plan to just bombard Kakashi with each other. They both immediately would rush in at the direction of Kakashi, and as soon as this happens, Kakashi's eyes would widen as he realizes, okay, they finally decided to attack. He has his make-out tactic series on his hand, and Naruto shoots a gust of wind so powerful it literally rips it. Kakashi is distraught at that moment, and bro goes into anime rage moment, unveiling his Sharingan and then going on to just kill Naruto. I'm kidding. But seriously though, Kakashi gets like blatantly upset and immediately dodges out of the way, blitzing it at Naruto's direction and tagging him square in the face, sending Naruto flying back. Naruto thinking, what speed? As Kakashi would then continue to rush in faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, using more speed and not playing around with them whatsoever. Bro has to avenge his Makeout series Tactics Paradise book, right? And so he comes in a sort of like angry state, but ultimately after Sasuke shoots a fireball jutsu that would surprise Kakashi, Kakashi would simply, using his abilities, would just beat down on Sasuke with his taijutsu, ultimately tying him down to a pole, and Naruto, which leads him to pretty much tell them not to feed each other and that they get one more try. Even though they did technically already pass considering they used teamwork, he wants to see if Sakura would be willing to use teamwork as well. And so Sakura is given all of the food and told, don't feed them. And what does Sakura do? She feeds her Sasuke-kun. who would tell her to feed Naruto, considering that the team needs to be at full strength. And then she does so, leading to Kakashi popping out of the bushes and saying, you pass. Then going on to explain to them what Obito had taught him so long ago, and ultimately following this we would have 2 weeks worth of D-rank missions, in which eventually Hiruzen, after being pestered by Sakura and Naruto, would then finally give them the escort mission for Tazuna the bridge builder. They end up making their way towards that direction the very next day, and Tazuna would be asking them if they really are capable ninjas, saying that he doesn't trust a pink-haired girl, a little blonde-haired boy, and some emo-looking kid, even though he does look like the strongest. And Naruto kind of would scoff at hearing that, thinking that he's definitely the strongest. Sasuke's strong, but not as much as him. I mean, Naruto does definitely have a pretty decent arsenal in his bag, you know what I'm saying? So Naruto personally feels kind of offended by this, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. But anyways, what pretty much ends up happening is that they eventually make their way on the mission, and 30 minutes in, they finally would encounter their first threat of the entire thing, which would be the Demon Brothers. Now, immediately upon recognizing this, Naruto, using his Wind Grimoire, or Wind Magic Grimoire, would immediately use a wind spell that would cast both of the brothers completely immobilized, and then he would just shoot more wind at them that would completely knock them out, leading Sasuke to question what kind of jutsu that was, and Naruto finally revealing that he doesn't use jutsus. He has a grimoire and uses magic, mana, something that he wouldn't expect them to know anything about. And Sasuke would be like, what are you talking about? There's just chakra. There's no such thing as magic. And Naruto says, look, if you don't want to believe I use magic, that's fine, but that's what I used, okay? I didn't need to hide a jutsu from you. And Sasuke would kind of get butthurt at this response, but ultimately would let it slide. Eventually, we would make ourselves not 10, but let's say an hour into the journey. And once that happens, we would pretty much end up getting a white bunny get a shuriken tossed at him by Naruto, who would have thought that it was very, very strange that there's a white bunny nearby. Suddenly though, a massive blade would come in from the shadows, and it would almost hit Team 7 had it not been for Kakashi screaming at them to dodge, and ultimately Naruto using a wind spell to shoot the blade further than it was actually intended to go, to basically throw it off course. Zabuza doesn't get his cool introduction like in the original of landing on the blade, but ultimately Kakashi and Zabuza would have their same fight as the original, and we do get to see the scene where Kakashi gets trapped in the bubble and ultimately would have to wish that his teammates abandon him, saying that he doesn't want them to die, and ultimately he wants them to continue living. He wants them to survive. He wants them to go on. It was really his fault what really happened right there. So he just wants the best for his team. And so what would pretty much end up happening following that is essentially Naruto and Sasuke would formulate a plan. And that plan would be get Naruto as close to Zabuza as possible and shoot a wind spell straight at Zabuza point blank. Since if he tried to do it from far, yeah, obviously it would land, but he thinks that it would be more effective if he used the plan with Sasuke. So the shuriken plan would be enacted, and after using a wind spell on Zabuza point blank, Zabuza would get caught off guard, blown away by the wind spell, and ultimately he would be way too weak to even face off against Kakashi once they end up having their original bout like in canon. So instead, Haku would come in slightly earlier, throw the Senbon, and then Zabuza would quickly be eliminated from the situation, leading to Team 7 making their way towards Tazuna. And a quick time skip later, we find ourselves with part 2 of Zabuza and Haku versus Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, right? And Naruto, just like in the original, does end up arriving late, just because I do want him to save Inari and his mother Tsunami, so he does end up arriving late. But ultimately what pretty much goes down is that he arrives, and when he sees Sasuke with all those Senbon needles through on his body, and he thinks that Sasuke's dead, the rage that Naruto would feel would finally lead Naruto to unlocking Kurama for the first time in this What If, which leads him to absolutely body slam Haku, and ultimately would lead to the situation that we would have had in canon, where Naruto realizes that Haku is who he is and ultimately would spare his life, leading Haku to sacrifice his life for Zabuza, and then the Gato situation would unfold right before our eyes, just like in canon, right? But after this happens, Naruto would just watch talk no jutsu Zabuza, and following this, the team would complete the mission, having the bridge be named the Great Naruto Bridge, leading to the next following events in the story, which would be that Team 7 would end up arriving right back in the village, and once they arrive, Naruto looks up at this sign that says fandom, and Naruto's like, what's fandom?
As anime fans, we love to show our support to our favorite shows by rocking anime apparel. But something I'm pretty sure we can all agree on is it's so expensive. So I've partnered up with Fandom to bring you all affordable, high quality anime merch that you are sure to love. And if you use my code Xehther at checkout, you can even get an extra 10% off the already affordable merch. Keep in mind, it does come from overseas sellers, so its sizing is going to be different since it's overseas. That said, let's get back into the video.
Continuing on the story though, Naruto and Team 7 would make their way towards Hiruzen's office, and once there, they would pretty much end up getting rewarded handsomely for their efforts in the Land of the Waves, which then leads them to walking outside and the meeting of Naruto and Temari.